So if you didn't know how to solve this, I would say it's probably because you didn't recognize that this is really x to a fraction power. Because I think you know how to get rid of fraction powers. All right, take a second. Solve this for x. It's not x equals 5, of course, because there's some fraction power that goes right here. And you'll have to get rid of that. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to show me the answer to the kid next to you, so don't just sit there. You're about to take the hardest math test you've had all semester for sure, and it might be the hardest of this entire semester. So, lock in. All right, please start by just telling the kid next to you how you started this question. Talk to him. How'd you start it? For today, I want you to celebrate. The problem is x to the 4/3. If you don't know that that's the root and that the root goes on the bottom, you need to learn that. Then you put it to a power of 3/4. 3/4. Now there's two kinds of kids. Kids that remembered the absolute value and kids that didn't. Now process that for a minute. I know you're like, well, I did this in a calculator. That's fine. But if you didn't have the absolute value, you wouldn't know that there's two answers. All right? Talk to the kid next to you. Why is there an absolute value there? Okay. See how we did an even root on both sides? That bottom part's the root. We did an even root. That's why we have an absolute value. And the 4th root of 5, I have no idea. So now I would say to my, I'd go to my calculator and I'd put in 5 to the power of, sorry, I'm using a calculator I don't normally use. This one doesn't have a power button. Okay, I'm going to use scientific calculators. Here, save me some time. Jack Breen, what is 5 to the 3/4 power? Did you do this? Some decimal. 3.34. 3.34. And then that's not the answer because of the absolute values. So final answer, plus and minus 3.34. This is why we get two answers, because the absolute values have two answers. All right, cool. Now, I know some of you remembered the absolute value. Who remembered it without me telling you? All right, that's a half. All right. Okay, next kind. Let's talk about the graphing ones. If you don't have a clue what that looks like, you're probably not going to do well on this test. Now, if you forgot, it's okay. You can make an XY chart. It could save your butt. Anytime that there's one that you're supposed to have memorized, because you are supposed to have memorized that, but you forget it, you can make one of these. The other advantage you use making the XY chart is you have to have that if we were actually graphing this versus sketching. If I just say the sketching, you can just draw a line kind of where it is, sort of. But I'd make an XY chart to know I was putting it in the right spots. All right, so take a minute, pick some things to put here, here, and here. That could tell you, in case you forgot it, that could tell you what it looks like. All right, pro tip. Try to make the inside small. What's the smallest thing? Do you think I mean negative 67? No. What's the smallest thing? 0. What's something else that's small? 1. What's something else that's small? Negative 1. Don't forget the negative 1. All right. We're trying to make the inside small. All right, if I put in 0, 1/2 to the 0 is 1. If I put in a 1, 1/2 to the 1 is 1/2. And if I put in -1, 1/2 to the -1 is 2. And if you didn't know what this looks like, well, you'll know what it looks like now. Because you got these 3 little points, and then you'll be like, oh, it's one of these. And I'm curious, did anybody put the asymptote in? Raise your hand if you put in the asymptote. Awesome. There will be directions on the test that say, don't forget to put in the asymptote, but it's very possible that you'd still forget it. It happens all the time. And your asymptote is not a, here, some kids put that in there. That's not an asymptote. Asymptote's a dotted line. Okay, so don't just draw a big dark line through there. That's not an asymptote. It has to be a dotted line. Okay, so then if you know that it looks like this, that's exponential what? Decay. All right. So if that's exponential decay, but it's actually not 1/2 to the x, it was something else. Let's say it was 1/5 to the x. Can you tell me the 3 points that you could have made for that? Find me 3 points. Finding points is huge, in my opinion. Because you're going to forget functions. Like last hour, at least a third of the kids, I know you've studied this one, but about a third of the kids did not remember what that function is. That's okay. It's been a while. Some of you know, oh yeah, that's x to the third. Remember that one? But I know there's some of you that just forgot that right now. So the point is, if you don't remember it, you can take a second and you can go and you can make an XY chart for it. So that's what I'm doing for this 1/5 to the x, because I bet nobody memorizes that one. So I put in 0 and I get 1. I put in 1 and I get 1/5. And I put in -1 because that works really nice on a fraction. Flips it and you get 5. Okay, cool. -1, 5. 0, 1. 1 and 1/5. Okay, so that's like that. All right, cool. Okay, so here's the hardest kind. Which way is this thing moved? Sketch what it looks like. Just a sketch. And then, hopefully you know, it kind of looks like that, right? Isn't that growth? And then which way has it been moved? Talk to the kid next to you. What do these two things mean?
Horizontal stretch right back to or vertical stretch right back to 3.
Yeah, and it got moved to the right.
Yeah.
All right. Did you know that that was moved right 3? This part's the right 3. And this part's a vertical what? Stretch. All right, good. Now, exactly what does that look like? Well, that's kind of hard to do. So I think you should make an XY chart for it. Take a second. Pick some points. Now, in case you're not good at picking points, make the inside, which is this part that has an x minus 3 in it, make that small. So what's going to make that really small is a 3. And then you'll pick other numbers that are close to 3. If I pick 3 and I put it in here, I'll get to the power of 0. 3 to the, so wait, this is all 0 now. 2 to the 0 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 comma 3. All right. Next one I'm going to put in something near 3, like maybe 2. Now, don't let it freak you out if you get a negative exponent. You're supposed to know that those just mean that you're going to flip it over. So I'm going to put a 2 in there, and I get 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 2 to the negative 1, this part, is a half. And then 3 times a half would be 3 over 2, or 1.5. I'd be fine with 1.5. Decimals are okay answers, unless we tell you otherwise. And last but not least, how about 4? I could have picked 1. Anything near 2 and 3. But go 4 minus 3 is 1. 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 comma 6. Now, last thing. Where's the asymptote? Don't say it. In a second, I'm going to ask you to talk to the kid next to you. Where's the asymptote at? You should know where they start, and then you should ask yourself, did it move from where it starts? All right. Talk to that kid next to you. Where's the asymptote at? I heard somebody say it well. Because it didn't move up or down. Yes, it's there still because it didn't move up or down. That's the only time the asymptote will move, is if the whole graph moves up or down, and this one didn't. This one moved right, and it's stretched. Stretching does not move something up or down. It's different. So the asymptote's still at 0. Okay, cool. There's so many concepts to know. Here's 5 little easy ones. I'm going to call this number 1. N to the x over n to the 3 equals n to the 8th. Number 2. You'll need a calculator for number 2. Totally just use the one on your iPad for now, but remember on the test, no iPads. So bring a calc. Now, I know some people are still probably answering number 1. Please take a second and copy them all first, because this is going to get moved off the screen. You won't be able to see it anymore. Question number 3 is 4a squared b times 2a b squared to the negative 1. That 2 got a little weird looking, so I'm going to just clean up the 2 in there. There's a 2 right there. All right. Question 4. You have $1,000. It grows to $5,000. Over 12 years. I'm going to give you the equation because we will on the test too. V equals P 1 plus R over N to the NT. You're supposed to know where to put all those things in that equation and solve it. And the last problem is number 5 here. And that's x minus 3 to the 3 over 2 minus 8. So we're looking 8. Minus 8. Gotta change the 8. Minus 8 equals 10. All right, there's 5 questions. All on the screen, kind of small. Pause for a second. See if you can get 4 out of 5 on this thing. Now, during this time, this is not a moment where I want you to just sit there and not know how to do number 3, okay? So if you don't know how to do one of them, or you want to check with the kid next to you, it's okay, because I need you to learn still. Tomorrow is the big test. This is just to make you realize, ooh, I don't know this kind, or I don't know that kind. So you can either raise your hand, I'll walk around for a little bit, and I can only help like one kid at a time, those, right? So if you feel comfortable asking the kid next to you, please just say, hey, do you know what to do in number 2? All right? I'll be walking around hoping you're going to ask me. All right, so here we go. For this one, the key was you wanted to get the ends together so that they have a same base as each other. And this would be to the power of x minus 3. And then from there, it's just x minus 3 equals 8. So the answer ends up being 11. Who had 11 for your first one? Good. On to number 2, this guy. The key here was knowing that this was x to the 4/3. That's what the problem is. I haven't done anything except fix this and strongly recommend fraction exponents, because you know how hard it is to put that in a calculator? You know how easy it is to put that in a calculator? It's just a power of 4/3. It's super easy. But this, you got to have 2 weird functions you have to know on the calculator. So make it like this. And then you just put it to the power of 3/4. Is this the kind that has absolute values? Yes, absolute value of x. Did you remember it? Only you know that. All right. And then I don't know what 5 to the 3/4 power is, but I grab my calculator and I go 5 to the parentheses 3/4. Now, why did I put a parenthesis around it? Let me show you. I did 5 to the power of parentheses 3/4. Well, if you have a newer calculator, it won't make this mistake. But if you have an older calculator, it'll, without the parentheses, it'll go 5 to the 3, and then it'll divide it all by 4. Because powers are supposed to be first, right? See what I mean? Well, if you just type this in an old calculator, it won't work. So the safe thing to do is to always put your fractions in parentheses. If you put your fractions in parentheses, wherever you put them in, you won't have issues with the order of operations. All right, so now that comes out to 3.34. Raise your hand if you had 3.34. Awesome. If you didn't have 3.34, it would probably was that parentheses thing. All right, that was number 2. Number 3 is up here. And these guys are unhappy. That's the way I'd like to say this. So you move them downstairs and make them happy. 2ab squared. It's still to the positive 1, but if you have it to the positive 1, it doesn't really do anything. So there's my new problem. And then this can be simplified. 4 over 2 is 2 on the top. A squared over a, that leaves 1a on the top. And b over b squared leaves 1b on the bottom. Makes me realize that one of my students I was helping before had, for some reason, done their b wrong. And I hope you know who you are, and hope you're seeing that the b should actually be on the bottom. I know what happens a lot of times. People have a power of 1 here and a power of 2 there, and then they go, oh, shouldn't I take 1 minus 2 and that makes b to the negative 1? Yes, but that b to the negative 1 would be on the top. So that's why I don't think it's smart to do it that way. I think it's better to just go, there's b times b here and 1b there. There's 1b left on the bottom. So again, if you were going to do the b is negative 1 thing, you'd put it here, and then you'd go, can't leave it there. It needs to go to the bottom. 2a over b. Who had that one right? Good. Number 4, probably the hardest one. It's not that hard to figure out where to put the stuff. You're supposed to know that the starting amount goes here, the ending amount goes here, and the 12 goes in the time. Since I never said anything about monthly, did I? Then the n was 1. 1 times 12, and that's just a 1. So then the only thing we don't know is the rate. So now I'm going to solve this thing. 5,000 equals 1,000 times 1 plus r, dividing by 1 doesn't do anything, to the 12th. And it's right here that a lot of people get stumped. And then they don't know it's just divide by 1,000. And 5,000 divided by 1,000 is 5. And those cancel. 1 plus r to the 12th. Now, I just have to know to put it to the power of 1/12. Definitely need a calculator there. 5 to the parentheses, just to be safe. 1 divided by 12. 1.143, etc., etc. And then it all just depends on, ooh, wait. Wasn't this an even root? Did you even think about it? We just did an even root. Therefore, there's two numbers that would work. But in the context of interest at a bank account, I bet you would know that that is not, you don't ever want negative interest at a bank account. So it turns out to be positive anyway. But all right, so then I've got 1 plus r here. And I'm not going to worry about the absolute values because the negative one wouldn't work in the real world anyways. Take away 1, take away 1. I got 0.143. Now, it's scary to me how many people ask, like, it says 14.3. Why does it say 14.3? Because this is a decimal, and 14.3 would be what? Percent. You guys get the difference, right? That's a decimal. That's a percent. So if they wanted a percent, give them a percent. If they want the decimal, that's a decimal. There's a difference, of course. All right. Who got all the way down to 0.143? Raise your hand if you got that far. Good. You didn't have to do this unless the problem says what percent is it. All right. And then the last one's number 5. And that one we're going to add 8 to both sides. And we got x minus 3 to the 3 over 2 equals, adding 8 makes 18. Then I'm going to put it to the power of 2 over 3. This kind does not need absolute values because that's an odd root. That cancels that. X minus 3, no absolute values. And then 18 to the 2/3. So I put in 18 to the parentheses. 2 divided by 3. And I get 6.868. And then this just brings up, where do we round to? It'll tell you. But if you would just not round until the very end, that would be the smartest thing. So I'm going to add 3, and then you just look at your answer and like, this one doesn't have directions. But if it said to round to the 10th place, I'd be at 9.868, and it'll be easy to round that to the 10th place, and it would be 9.9. You get what I'm saying? All right. Who had the clean sweep? You knew all of them. Awesome. Then you're going to be in really good shape tomorrow. I know there's people in here. I don't know who that just got like 3 wrong. The question is whether you'll spend the time necessary. And if you want to come in for help tomorrow morning, that's fantastic. But here's a big mistake people make sometimes. Oh, I'm struggling. So I'm not going to do the review. I'll come in and ask him questions in the morning. Don't do that. Do the review. Learn as much as you can from the key, because I can't teach you everything tomorrow morning. So come in with your review mostly done, and there might be a couple that you want me to talk you through. That I can do. But don't just skip the review and come in for help. Do the review, and then also come in for help. Tomorrow morning is a great time. Test is tomorrow. All right. So I've got you as well prepared as I can. Now it's up to you and your review problems. Strong recommend you do every single one. You know, it'll take more time than normal, but hey, you're supposed to be studying for the test anyways, right? And you'll know that you've practiced pretty much everything if you do that whole review sheet and you check it against the key. And that's all I got for you for today.